Hi, everyone. This is Art Pugach of Q Associates. I'll be talking to you today about Microsoft 365 Copilot and AI agents. First, a little bit about myself. I am a Microsoft MVP and Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'm also the co-host of When in Doubt Reboot, or WIDER as we like to call it, podcast. Microsoft certified trainer, database administrator. I have over 25 years in the industry. My contact information is below, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. So, quick agenda for what we're going to be going through today. We're going to do an introduction of Microsoft 365 Copilot. I know many of you have seen Microsoft 365 Copilot. We're going to go over some stuff that you may have seen before. We're also going to go over some new stuff as well that's happened the last couple of months, which is kind of really cool, especially involving agents, which is our last feature of the day. But we're also going to do a quick little demo of Microsoft Copilot, some new things you might see, might even show you a video or two. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about agents and, in fact, a little bit about managing agents as well. So first things first, Microsoft 365 Copilot. What is it? Why do you want to use it? What makes it different than other AI agents out there, as opposed to something like, let's say, ChatGPT, which it's actually built upon, or something like Gemini or Alexa or Grok or other ones that are out there. Well, the cool thing about Microsoft 365 Copilot is it's already embedded into the applications that you work with and you work with every day, such as Outlook, Teams, uh, Excel, and PowerPoint, which we can actually even show you how to create a PowerPoint like I'm doing right now using Copilot. Even though this one was actually created by a colleague of mine, you can actually do some really cool stuff, at least drafting, as I like to say, with Copilot and PowerPoint. So a couple things about it is Copilot Chat, grounded through Microsoft Graph, really good, keeps things nice and secure. It's always good. Your data is your data. Obviously, Microsoft 365 apps, but also something really cool, Microsoft Copilot Studio, or as they now call it, Copilot Studio Lite, that you or your end users can use to design agents that will help you work with Microsoft 365 Copilot. So continuing on this here, security. Again, from a security point of view, Microsoft 365 Copilot honors your permissions. So let's say if you're using SharePoint, whatever permissions you have set up in SharePoint, say only a certain group can access certain files or see certain things, that's what Copilot will follow. One additional thing I will talk about a little bit right now is data labeling policy. This is very important DLP, especially in this day and age. The reason why I would like to bring it up, especially when we talk about Microsoft Copilot or when we talk about such tools such as Purview, is that a data labeling policy, labeling in certain ways, saying, is something confidential? Is it public? Is it for accounting only? Is it for IT only? The better the labeling you have, the better the Copilot solution you will have, because Copilot will go based on how you have things set up. So as an example, if let's say you have a file out there that says password, that's in SharePoint and has everybody's passwords in it, and it's shared to everybody, Copilot can see that. So obviously that's a situation where two things you want to do. Number one, you want to make sure that everybody can't see it, doesn't have access to it. And number two, you want to label that as confidential. Copilot will see that. It'll say, okay, only people who have rights to view confidential information can view this file. And that way, someone's saying, hey, can you show me all the passwords? Somebody says, oh, you can't see any passwords. I don't know what you're talking about. And that's where Copilot comes into place as far as data labeling policies or DLP. In addition, one of the other things to comment about with Copilot and Microsoft 365 Copilot is that there are other nice tools that you can use with it. So as far as governance and compliance, there's a fantastic tool that Microsoft makes called Microsoft Purview. It's available either as a separate license or as part of Microsoft 365 E5, which will enable you to actually use Copilot to actually help determine what Copilot can see and what it can't see, which is really, really good. So that way you can potentially use AI to train AI, so that way, and to secure AI in your internal department, so that way you can see only what you want Copilot to see from an internal point of view. That being said, as far as the third item, privacy goes, also very important to realize something about Microsoft 365 Copilot. There are actually two parts to it, and the two parts are this. There's a web side and there's a work side. So if you ever sometimes have been working with Copilot, Microsoft 365, you notice it might sometimes saying, hey, do you want to use work? That means you have a work license. When you click on the Work tab, what that means is you will see only work-related data. When you click on Web, you're looking at only web-related data. So there's a nice separation between the two. They don't meet together, they don't come together, and they aren't shared with each other. So everything on the work side, just on work. Everything on the web side, just on web. So again, Microsoft Graph. This is how it's grounded. This is how Microsoft 365 Copilot is able to process data. This is how it connects your data across different workflows, whether it's Teams, Outlook, Dynamics 365, GitHub, Azure, security. Microsoft Graph is key to it. And that's one of the things I was just going to say is that it can't emphasize more. This is how the grounding works. This is where it comes into it. It's a very secure, it's a very good tool. And again, it's using your data, but not to the outside, only to the in. Okay, another thing though, which is really fantastic, is you can with thanks to Microsoft Graph, you can connect to other tools, and this is a really cool thing. So if you take a look here, you can see we have data connectors, Salesforce, SAP, SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Graph showing it right here with your Office products, Microsoft Azure, Dataverse, so you can connect into Dataverse related products, Dynamics 365, customer engagement as an example, Microsoft Fabric, again, Power BI, things like that, Azure SQL, and data marts, lake houses, so forth like that. And the other cool thing is that again, it says SQL database. That means you can actually connect with on-premise data as long as you secure things correctly. You can actually use Copilot to connect with your on-prem data, and actually train Copilot on that data that you're going to have on premises, so it can help you. Another thing, so this is a slide. I think I may have shown it the last time we did one of these presentations, but again, this is Copilot's interpretation of me as a Leonardo da Vinci, sort of the Vitruvian IT person. So the thing that we like to comment is this: Copilot does not replace people, but people use Copilot will replace those who do not. And I want to spend a few seconds on talking about this here. I know it's a cute slide, and you're thinking about the statement here, but one of the big things that I've been reading about, I've seen at different other people's presentations, and we've been talking about, is the big thing that a lot of people are worried that Copilot or AI is going to replace them. The fact of the matter is that's not what we see the future as being. We see AI as being that assistant, being someone that can make someone's work life, make their work experience better, optimize what they're doing, help them through day-to-day processes. So at the end of the day, that person becomes more efficient and can become become a better resource for the company. So instead of, let's say, replacing them with Copilot, you give them Copilot and it can superpower them as an end user. So that's very key to know. So cost breakdown, standard Copilot license, and some of this is changing in the year, but Microsoft 365 Copilot is $360 per year per user. That's on the enterprise level, whether it's E3 or E5. There are some additional ones that are coming out as well for the new year that are a little bit less expensive. We'll have more details from those next year, but there are some really cool things that are coming out and some really cool deals coming out from Microsoft in 2026, so in the near future. So be on the lookout for those. So now I said I'm going to promise you a Copilot demo. I'm going to show you some stuff in Copilot. So a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, actually, time flies very fast in the world of AI. One of the things that we did is I wanted to make sure that I could show users how to create a video on the fly, or show them what the power of that Copilot has. So what I have up here and I'm about to show is I have this video right here. This video right here is based on a PowerPoint presentation that Microsoft 365 Copilot created for me. The topic of the item, because we're a Microsoft Dynamics house, that's what Q Associates does. We work with Dynamics ERP, Dynamics Business Central, Dynamics Customer Engagement, the rest of the Dynamics platform. One of the questions that's come up a lot from our end users is I want to know the difference between cloud and on-prem. Why would I want to go to cloud versus on-prem? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? So I said, what if I was to ask Copilot to create a PowerPoint how to do this? And I know I've shown people how to do that before. I've shown people watching these presentations how to do that before. So I don't need to go into that too much. But they created a PowerPoint. And then I said, you know what? There's this new option in it called Create. So let me show you what it created, and then I'll show you how I created it. So let me click over here and I'm going to go ahead and click play. And you can now watch my quick little video that Copilot for Microsoft 365 created.
Welcome to our overview of deployment options for enterprise resource planning. Today, we will compare Microsoft Dynamics 365 on-premises and cloud solutions. Let's begin with an overview of deployment models for Microsoft Dynamics 365. Understanding these options is crucial as organizations consider the best approach for implementing their ERP solutions. Microsoft Dynamics 365 offers two primary deployment methods, on-premises and cloud. On-premises deployment involves hosting software on local servers, managed by internal IT teams, providing full control over infrastructure. Cloud deployment is hosted on a cloud platform and offers a SaaS experience, with automatic updates and reduced hardware requirements. On-premises is ideal for strict regulation, while cloud enables scalability and remote access. When considering deployment, key areas to compare include deployment and infrastructure, cost implications, scalability and flexibility, and security and compliance. The cloud model delivers a fully managed environment with automated updates and backups, reducing IT maintenance. On-premises deployment requires organizations to manage servers, hardware, updates, and system performance, offering more control but demanding significant resources. The decision depends on existing infrastructure, regulations, and preferences for control or convenience. Cloud deployment uses a subscription pricing model, providing predictable monthly costs and reducing upfront investment and ongoing overhead. On-premises requires a high initial outlay for hardware and licenses, plus ongoing maintenance. Overall, cloud offers better cost efficiency and flexibility for most businesses compared to the long-term expenses of on-premises. Cloud deployment offers seamless scalability and automatic updates without additional hardware. It enables remote access and mobile work from any internet-connected location. On-premises scaling requires hardware upgrades and more IT support, making it complex and costly. While on-premises allows greater customization, scaling is more challenging compared to the cloud. Cloud deployment utilizes enterprise-grade security, automatic backups, and disaster recovery. However, organizations may be concerned about data residency and reliance on third-party servers. On-premises deployment allows full control of data and security protocols internally, but requires dedicated resources to manage security and compliance. Let's analyze the pros and cons of both deployment models. Understanding the advantages and disadvantages helps organizations make an
Well, I'll stop the video there, but just to show you sort of the detail on what Copilot can do. So once again, I took a PowerPoint that was created by Copilot. I then asked it to create a video, and then it created this video. Now, let me show you how I did that. So this right here is Microsoft 365 Copilot. As you can see, it says M365 Copilot up the top. You can see the different options, different things it has available to you. You can write a basic chat. You can summarize different points from a PowerPoint as an example. Which example, this one right here is pointing at the QA Copilot December 2025 PowerPoint, which is actually the PowerPoint I'm actually showing you right now, reviewing with you right now. Obviously, you can summarize a file, you can diagnose, but what I want to show you today are a couple of different things that we have options under here. First thing I want to show you is create. So this is a really cool area. First thing I want to show you is you can create an image, you can create an infographic, you can create a story. So literally, if you take a look down here, when I was talking about before, creating myself as like the Vitruvian IT person in quotes, this is where I would have created. I'll say create an image of me as, Leonardo da Vinci, Vitruvian man, so forth like that. Rotating computers, laptops, so forth like that. That's where it would come up with that. Depending on the detail of the prompt will depend on the detail that you'll get out of it. One of the big things you might notice is there's an add content to this here, as well as style, brand, and color, different options. But I want to show you the whole video part of it here. So under video, this is actually where I created the video. So you can either create a video from scratch, which is something where you say, hey, okay, I want to create a video that shows me how to compare on-prem and cloud systems. You can just start with that. It might be a little vague. You might need a little more information. But what the really cool thing about here is you can start from a PowerPoint, a document, a PDF, and you can even add a file. So as an example, in here, I added a file. Right here, this is the one here, benefits versus on-prem versus cloud. I went ahead and I clicked on that, and then all I did was click create. And when I click create, it might take a few minutes, but what Copilot for Microsoft 365 does is it actually ends up creating a video. Once the video is created, you can then open it up in Clipchamp. You can edit the video, you can change the video around, and you can, as you normally would any video that you create. So it's actually a pretty cool thing. Now, the one thing I will say this is that from a demo point of view, if I'm demoing Microsoft 365 Copilot, I may just create a PowerPoint or a PDF and just have the video create off of it. What I do recommend is before you do that is to go ahead, edit whatever PowerPoint you have that's created for you. Then number two, once you've edited it, gone through it, reviewed it and everything like that, especially for accuracy, because remember, AI is not always 100% accurate. Same thing, I said, like with an assistant, right? You're going to review their work. AI assistant, human assistant, think of it the same way. You want to review work when you get it to you to make sure that it's accurate in the way that it looks that it's supposed to. So just remember that. It's like an assistant, just not a human assistant, but you want to treat it like a human assistant when it comes to proofing and to taking a look at the information that's provided to you. Second thing is that when you throw it into the creation, you may notice if you do it one time or you do it a second time, it may create things a little bit differently. Obviously, I didn't give it a prompt here to say, okay, I want you to talk in an authoritative voice. I want you to make this a fun presentation, make it more humorous. Or you say maybe you want to make it more, for a specific audience, or maybe you want to add your branding to it if your branding wasn't already included in the PowerPoint, as an example. But what you can do is once it actually creates the media and applies the final touches, you can actually have it regenerated. You can edit it. You can change a prompt around saying, okay, this is okay, but it looks like slide 13 doesn't exactly look accurate, or maybe slide 12 is a little too redundant. You can do that and that. What it will also do is we'll also create a nice little transcript so you can see what it says here. So again, once I've created it, you can see it's 410 versus 418, which is on the other one. But then again, once I'm ready for it, I can go ahead and
Welcome
hit
to our
play,
comparison
and I
of
can
Microsoft
preview.
Dynamics 365 on-premises versus cloud solutions. In this video, we will evaluate the key differences and considerations for selecting the right deployment model for your enterprise resource planning needs.
So I'm going to go ahead and pause it there. You may have noticed there was a bit of a staticky sort of something like that. That's one of those things I recommend if you're going to present something that was created by Copilot. Make sure to export and share. This button up here is very important. Open in Clipchamp, obviously Clipchamp first. The reason why I point this out is when I've done live demos, either off of this particular product or even doing a chat with Copilot. And yes, in fact, you can actually chat with Copilot directly. I'll show you where you can do that. All you got to do is there's this little button over here. You can start a new voice chat. I'm going to try it today again, but the one thing I will tell you, and I've noticed with it, is sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't work great. And I've noticed over the past month, it being a little hit or miss and talking with other MVPs, they've told me similar. So one of the things is it's a really cool feature, but it's still one of those things where it requires a lot of bandwidth and it's hit or miss. Something to try, but not necessarily something to rely on. But I'll go ahead and give it a quick little try. So while I'm talking to you, I'm going to talk to Copilot, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll get Copilot to talk back to us. Hello, Copilot. How are you today?
Hey there. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, Copilot, can you tell me about how Microsoft agents can now easily be managed through the Microsoft 365 admin portal?
Managing Microsoft agents in the Microsoft 365 admin portal has gotten much easier and more centralized lately. They've introduced what's called the Agents and Connectors Hub, where IT admins can manage all kinds of agents, whether they're built by Microsoft, third-party developers, or even custom agents created just for your organization. There's now a centralized dashboard where you can track how agents are being used, see adoption trends, and even get AI-driven recommendations to optimize everything. You can approve or block agents, manage their lifecycle, and export details as well. It's all about giving admins more visibility and control while keeping things compliant and efficient. Super handy if you're dealing with lots of automation or AI-driven tools.
Thank you very much, Copilot.
You're welcome. Glad to help. Let me know if there's anything else you're curious about.
And then once you're done with anything else, you click the X button, and then it will close.
Exactly. It's all pretty seamless once you get used to it. Any other Microsoft 365 tricks or features you're wondering about?
Not right now. I'm just going to go back to my presentation and show everyone else what we've seen, what the new stuff that's coming along.
Good luck with the presentation, and if you ever need more info or a quick refresher, I'm here.
So when you click the X, what ends up happening is it closes the voice chat, and then we continue from there. So, and that's that. So it's nice, simple to do a voice chat if you want to. The other cool thing is that what I've noticed is when I'm doing a presentation, if I can talk to Copilot, I can tell it what to do. I can go hands free, and then I can demo one thing in one place, and I can, instead of having to type, which is pretty cool. Anyway, uh, getting back from just basic Copilot stuff, let me show you a little more stuff on Microsoft 365 Copilot. I may have gone over some agents before. There are some default agents that are built into it. As an example, Researcher, which is a great way of, again, preparing a brief, a white paper, just any number of things. It'll take a deep dive. You can really actually have it write something for you. So if you wanted to write, let's say, an instruction guide on how to create agents, you could ask Researcher to write a guide on how to create agents, or what are the best agents for Microsoft 365, and how do I create it? Can you give me a guide for an end user? Can you give me a guide for an IT person? And a Researcher will do that for you, which is really cool. One of the other things I like a lot is Prompt Coach, because to me, one of the biggest things with Microsoft 365 is the quality that you get out of Microsoft 365 Copilot is only as good as your prompt. If you can create better prompts, you can get better information, you can get better presentations, you can create better documents, you can get more information out of Copilot. So certainly I recommend using Prompt Coach to learn how to prompt. Again, the more detailed prompt you give, same thing like with a human assistant, the more detailed instruction you give, the better answers you're going to get. Also, as you can see over here, we have a history of conversations, and we also have something called Create Agent. Now, Create Agent is different than Create Below. Create Agent uses something called Copilot Studio, but not just Copilot Studio, but Copilot Studio Lite. In other words, it's designed to be for the end user. So you can either give it details like this, which is, one way you can do it. If you're a developer, you're probably more familiar with that, or you can describe an agent. So what it does is it gives you certain templates that you can use to create it. Let's say a career coach, let's say customer insight agent, different sorts of things like this, idea coach, interview question system. Let's face it, who hasn't ever had to give an interview with somebody or interview someone for a new position, and you're going like, man, wouldn't that be great to have an interview question assistant say, hey, I'm interviewing someone for a sales position. Can you tell me what would be the best questions for this? Again, you're just creating an agent that can help you with it. It can then log it. It can grade it. Again, you have the prompt coach. Quiz Tutor I find to be very good. I work with a number of Microsoft certified professionals. They're always trying to say, what's a better way that I can get certified and learn these products faster? There's so many changes going on. Well, you can have it tutor you. You can actually have Copilot tutor you, which is really cool. Request for proposal generator. That's one that we talk a lot about at Q Associates, because there's oftentimes a customer will come and say, hey, we're interested in a new product, or we're interested in you saying creating a Copilot agent for us that can help us better track work orders or sales orders in an automated fashion. At that point, we'll like, okay, yeah, so let's create a proposal. But let's say if we want to automate it a little bit more, we can create a proposal generator that will then take a default format, let's say for a proposal, create it, send the emails out to the right people, track it, and we'll keep everything in a very ordered, organized fashion. So it's really cool what you can do with this in here. So basically, you could do all sorts of things within here. And I'm just showing you different things you can do. So again, you can build on top of existing ones. Again, Prompt Coach, declarative Copilot that assists in creating and refining Copilot prompts. It excels in understanding your user requirements, gathering details such as goals, context, sources, and expectations. So it's really cool what it can create. So it shows you exactly what it does: generation, analysis, prompt compliance, making sure that someone's not just saying something slang or goofy or whatever, that it's making sure that you're using safe for work type things. Prompt engineering, again, how do I write a good prompt? Hey, I'm not getting what I want. How can I fix my prompt? And then maybe just show me some examples. So it's just showing you what this sort of thing can do. And literally right in here, all I'm doing is clicking on the template, and it's allowing me to just basically create the template from there. Once I create it, I can play with it, I can refine it, I can publish it out so other people can use it. But it's a really cool tool. Another thing to show you right over here is under agents, all agents, we have the agent store. So oftentimes what you'll find out there is there are a lot of agents that are already pre-built that you can take advantage of, that you can use. One of the big things that Microsoft has been talking about recently is Frontier, which are newer, sort of the idea of, being on that bleeding edge, but a better name for bleeding edge being Frontier, where you can learn all these new things that are coming out, all these new products that are coming out, especially with AI. In addition to that, as you can see, things that are coming along the pipeline, app builder, you can take an idea and have it create an app for you. Workflows, which are very important when it comes to creating an agent, because all agents are based on workflows. Or we say you want to create something or any program or anything, you go based on a flow chart, but now you can actually get help with this using natural language, not having to code. Again, SharePoint agent, something where people can create SharePoint posts and pages. But let's say if you want to put a little more style to it, a little more functionality to it, it can assist you with that. So these are different things that are coming through here. And as you can see, there's ones that are only made by Microsoft. You have ones made by other providers as well. And again, just showing you different things you can do. You have different things for example, customer service, action items, design, and so forth like that. You can look through all of these things in here, which is really, really cool. So just wanted to give you a little more an overview. And this right here is just within the Microsoft 365 Copilot application. So let me go ahead and switch back to the slides and we'll continue from there. Okay, so Copilot prompting. As I was saying before, this is one of the most important things for Copilot. So several things I want to review here. And I may have shown some stuff before. I may have shown some, maybe not all. I know I like to talk a lot, and sometimes my presentations tend to go, tend to ramble through my brain a little bit. So I like to make sure to keep myself honest. So that's why I like to demo sometimes a lot more than going off the PowerPoint slides. But I do like to show you this. So number one, recap a meeting. It's a really great thing you can do. It says that you can do it in Outlook. You can do it in Outlook. It's also very convenient to do within Teams as well. And there's another product out there now they've added to Teams, part of Copilot, called Facilitator. And what it will actually do is during a meeting, not only will it recap for you what's been going on in the meeting, but it will also give you the information once the meeting's over. What are the key points? What are the key topics? What are the action items? And it's a really cool little feature. If you have Microsoft 365 Copilot, see if you see an option called Facilitator. I recommend trying it out. It's a really cool tool, and it's something that we use internally at Q Associates. One of my favorite items is to ask Copilot to summarize an email thread. This is where I'm talking about, like, when you get an email that has like 10 or different replies to it, you suddenly get brought into something. They're saying, hey, I need you to take care of this, but this isn't always obvious. It might be like 4 or 5 emails down. What you can tell Copilot to do is, hey, summarize the email. Tell me what are the action items specific that I have in this email. Copilot will then summarize that, give you that information so you can get to it very quickly. Again, it's about optimizing your time. It's about getting through something quicker. So instead of having to take maybe 10 minutes to read through an email, you can take 30 seconds. Copilot will give you the information you need. You can then reply to whoever needs to reply to or get on the work that you need to get on that's actionable from that email thread. Drafting an email, again, we have people do this all the time. I've never shown this before. Basically, if you're saying draft a thank you letter, you can have it draft a thank you letter to any number of people, and it can draft a thank you letter. We're all, as human beings, we're not always great at drafting thank you letters. Now you can have Copilot do it for you, and you can have it personalized for each person. So it takes a lot of that time out of it there. Just if you're going to do it, I would say just add a little bit of a personal touch to it, because the one thing about AI is that people are getting better and better at recognizing it. At the same point, AI is getting better and better at writing. So I always recommend, when in doubt, always add a personal touch. As it says, draft email. Don't write email, draft. Summarize a document. This is another great thing. Remember I was saying it could create white papers for you? Well, it can also summarize white papers. I mean, who hasn't worked in IT or in accounting or any other field where you get a white paper that someone gives you, a professional document, and it's a big document, and you want to read through the whole thing, but sometimes you just don't have that time. Well, what would typically you do? If you had an assistant, you would ask an assistant, hey, could you give me a summarizer, give me the key points? The system would give you the key points. In this case, you're asking Copilot, which is your virtual AI assistant as opposed to your human assistant, and then Copilot will give you that summary. And again, as I was showing before, you could either speak to Copilot, and Copilot can then tell you it to it in a way that you can understand, not just by reading, but can also tell you to it verbally. So it's kind of like listening to an audiobook at that point, in a sense, or listening to a human assistant. So as you saw with Copilot there, tell me a topic or a project. So this is Copilot in general. Again, this is the whole sort of thing where it's saying, hey, can you go through Copilot here? If you're on the work tab as opposed to the web tab, can you tell me about this project that's ongoing Can you, tell me if there are any essential emails I need to know or read, any chats, any files I need to know? Copilot can summarize that for you, bring it all together, and you can look at it all in one place very quickly. So it's a really very nice tool for putting everything in one place so you can see it. Amplify, give me some ideas. Amplify your creativity. Yeah, you can ask it for give it to you some ideas. Suggest 10 compelling taglines based on file. In this case, taking a file, let's say if it's a marketing document, great taglines. It's great. One of the cool things I'll say about having created presentations is it can actually create presentation notes for you as well. So when I create a Copilot presentation of PowerPoint, oftentimes I'll say, hey, okay, create presentation notes as well. That way I can sort of see what it's prompting to, where it's pulling its data from a little bit more. I can see the notes in it. And I can also see if, hey, is this stuff going to be relevant for me? Is it not? And then I can go through and I can edit as necessary. So that way when I'm presenting, I'll see little notes up onto the side. I can then say, hey, oh, right. And this point as well is important as well, based on whatever document that's been created here. Again, help me write, get your first draft in seconds. You can say, generate a thank you letter, generate a cover page, for an example, for a resume. I know people don't do that as much anymore, but certainly you could do that. Dear such and such, looking to apply to this position, so forth like that. And then Copilot can assist you with that. I'm sure Copilot can also assist you with a resume, but I think you'd have to provide information as far as what a different resume was. But something to think about, if you want to think about that, you could potentially take a resume that you might have, put it into Copilot, and have Copilot refine it for you, which is something to actually try. Again, something you can do with a prompt. So Teams, it has here. What did they say? Again, this isn't just to me about the recap stuff or facilitator. This is about, let's say, if you join a meeting late, which happens in my life a lot more than I'd like to say, happens in a lot of people's lives. It's not because you're late all the time. It's not because you're behind. It's because, let's face it, oftentimes you'll be in meetings and meetings do run over. So let's say if a meeting runs over by a few seconds and you message someone, say, hey, I'll be in a meeting a little late. Can you, message me if I miss anything? Well, instead of messaging a person to do that, when you join the session on Teams, you could say, hey, Teams, hey, Copilot, what did I miss? And then Copilot can then update you on it. So that way, a few seconds into the call getting onto it, if you get on late, you can then continue and you can then contribute to the call the way you could if you were able to get on the call from the beginning. So that's pretty cool too as well. Other cool thing I will say about Teams as well is, let's say if you integrate it with Microsoft Dynamics CE or Copilot for Microsoft Dynamics CE Sales, it will oftentimes give you notes or give you options, give you items before the meeting. So that way you can get information that you have so you can prepare for the meeting, whether it's relevant emails or relevant documents. You can get that information before your meeting so you can be ready for your meeting. Again, I was saying, like example, like it's in Word, right? Saying like a resume, right? You can have it revise your resume or revise a cover letter or revise something that you've written or even review it. Just say, hey, how well is this written? Does this make any sense? One of the things I like a lot with it is, let's say if I'm writing a document or an email or something, and I have to write maybe an instruction guide, because I still do that. I like doing the stuff myself first as the draft. Certainly I can rely on Copilot, but for some reason, I find that I tend to write faster than Copilot, in the sense that I'll get my ideas down and then I can give it to Copilot, take a look at, and then run through it. Then what I will sometimes do is I'll say, okay, let me show you my draft. Let me show you Copilot's revision of my draft. And I hate to say it, people seem to like the Copilot revision of my drafts, which, I'll take to heart. I won't take it too badly. After all, Copilot, is taking my work originally and making a few revisions to it. So it may just be, sanding off the rough edges. Then, of course, there's Translate as well, which is great. Let's say you're not sure if you get something in a different language, an email, as an example, in this case, using Outlook. Can you translate the message for me? Copilot can then fairly accurately translate that message into a message that you can read in a specific language. I wouldn't necessarily say I would want to write an email and have it translate, but translating an email from another language, a language that you can read, that's where I would use it. But I wouldn't necessarily use it to write an email in a different language unless you actually know that language. So agents, I was talking about agents before. Copilot is the UI for AI, user interface for artificial intelligence or for AI. I guess you could say that's one way of looking at it, because certainly that's the whole idea. Basically, the idea is Copilot. You can create agents in Copilot Studio, and then you can have agents do certain things. As I've told people a story about something internally that came up, we had have a project coordinator, I should say, that had an issue where she had gotten an Excel document with all these open projects, and she needed to get status on the projects and needed to be able to update the document quickly. What she was going to do, she was going to go ahead and copy and paste each person's project, put into an email, send it out to them, wait to get a response, and then so forth. Very manual process. I said, no, let's try this. In Excel, I said, okay, let's create a prompt in Excel and tell Excel, okay, I want to create an agent that will do the following, that will take a look at this document, see who the project managers are, create an email to the project managers, and then track the responses from the project managers. So what ends up happening, you use this agent, what it'll end up doing is it'll create all those emails to each individual project manager with their project informations in it. That information will go out to the individual project managers. The project managers will then say, okay, this is status of my project, reply back, and that Excel document will get updated. It's pretty cool. And that way it saves a lot of time. So that way that project coordinator doesn't have to run around chasing project managers all day. It's just the agent does the work. So Copilot extensions, again, you can enrich Copilot, again, by adding additional agents, automating your data, automating your workflows. This whole idea, there's things you can do with Copilot Studio. Again, they've created Copilot Studio Lite, which is what I was showing you just before, that can do it for your end user. You can take it beyond that by creating extensions within Copilot Studio, the full-blown piece for developers. If you want to take it a step further, you can use Azure AI Foundry, which allows you to use different LLMs or large language models, and you can really drill into a lot more functionality that way. So you can get the best of all the different LLMs. Because as great as Copilot is, there's a Copilot for GitHub, there's a Copilot for Microsoft 365 Azure. There are also other ones that may be for specific development products that may not be Microsoft that you may have a need to integrate. If that's the case, that's where you would use Azure AI Foundry. So, a couple of statistics because people are always asking about this. As business demands rise, leaders see agents as the way forward. Well, of course, people want to automate. They want to take a lot of the mundane tasks, automate it, get to the more important stuff. Same sort of thing where it's like you don't want to have to someone design a report for you if you can ask Copilot to create the report for you and get you the data. Because if you can do that, then you can, let's say an accountant can then do their job a lot more efficiently, as an example. Or if I'm an IT person and I need to see what my security stance is, where are my vulnerabilities, where am I doing well, you could ask something like Security Copilot to run these tools, use agents on it, and you could then get this information very quickly in a very actionable way. And it's also great as well using a combination with something like Purview for ISO compliance and for governance. So it's really cool what you can do with this stuff. So again, with agents, you can choose your path, beginner or pro. So again, beginner, you can start with one of the pre-built agents. If you want to build from scratch, you can use either Copilot Studio or Copilot Studio Lite, depending on your skill set and depending on how far you want to go into it. And if you want to build your own agent in a big way, that's where you would look at software development kits or Visual Studio, or as I was saying, Azure AI Foundry. And Azure AI Foundry is the area where like someone who really knows what they're doing and who's a programmer, coder can really get into it. Again, the pre-built agents, researcher, analyst, and my favorite new one, which is facilitator, because all of us use Teams all the time, and that's a really great agent to be able to get you through and give you the information you need when you need it, as during a meeting, before a meeting, and after a meeting as well. So again, start with a pre-built agent. Here's researcher. I was talking about it a little bit before. Researcher will give you deep reasoning models, provide you with white papers, provide you information. It takes a little while longer to run certain things and to create the information. But what it can do is can give you a lot of really good things as far as creating a document, or opposite, taking a document and then having it research the document and then giving you a great summary. And it's generally available as well. Facilitator. Okay, it's in public preview, but it's one of those sort of frontier type things. But if you have a chance to use it and you can get into public preview, it's definitely recommended. It'll be out soon. Again, works alongside you during meetings, you and your teams, takes real-time notes, helps to moderate the meetings. Like it will tell you if you have 15 minutes left or if the meeting's left. So it'll be sort of like, the Great British Bake Off where the bakers are asking, how long do I have left? Well, guess what? A facilitator will act like that for you and it'll tell you, hey, you got 15 minutes left. So you know where you are with time. So it's really good that way. It'll also mention different people using the @ symbol. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that. Art Pugach, an example, mentioned that Microsoft 365 Copilot has this great product called Facilitator that you should want to try out. And it'll do some things like that in the meeting notes and during the chat inside the meeting itself. Interpreter, again, this is speech to speech. Supports 9 languages right now. It'll obviously support more languages. Um, so it'll be able to, if you have multiple people with multiple languages on a session, it will help to translate, or more to the point, I like to say interpret what they're saying, because it's not always a one-to-one translation that you need. Sometimes you just need the interpretation, so that way you understand what the person is saying, as opposed to sometimes the literal way that someone is saying something. Project Manager is a great sort of thing. This is Planner. Planner is also built in. As you can see, this is within Teams. This is a really great way as far as managing projects within Teams, and using Planner as a way to with Copilot to help to assist with project tracking, generate statute reports, and so forth. And I was showing you as well before in demoing, you have this great little place called the Agent Store, where you can select an agent, you can deploy it quickly, and then admins are valid for security, full control oversight, and so forth. Again, here are examples of industry-based advanced agents that can be created in Copilot Studio. We have public sector, citizen Q&A agent, retail, return fraud agent, finance, customer inquiry agent, manufacturing, production schedule optimizer agent. And again, these are different things that you could create using Studio that can help people do certain things faster and in more efficient ways. Like with the fraud thing, it can identify certain patterns. So it may be able to tell you there's fraud going on when you don't even know there's fraud going on, or you couldn't even tell just from the base look at it. It might be able to see some pattern out there that a human being may not be able to see. Again, you want to take a look behind the information behind it, but again, that's a reason why you might want to take a look at or create something like that. Again, like with manufacturing, you can optimize your production by just having it review just the schedules and production, and saying, okay, would it be better if we put this step a different way, or we do this step in the process a different way? And those are just basic things here. And again, you can explore the Microsoft Scenario Library, select agents as a filter, and take a look at different templates that are available. So again, more advanced agents. One of the big ones that we use is Customer Service Agent. One of the big products Microsoft is coming out with is something called Contact Center. It's already on the market, but it's being enhanced through things like Customer Service Agent, and basically in which you're making sure that you have a good workflow for customer support, in which end users can contact you or contact the agent, and the agent will then directly open a case, and it'll route the case to the right person most efficiently, so that way a case can be solved. And oftentimes it can even give you an answer that'll help you solve a case too. So it's pretty cool. Again, admin agent, automating IT ticket, legal. You can review things to help with legal team, HR, finance. A lot of different options in here. And again, the Microsoft Scenario Library. So went through a brief little thing about creating Copilot agents. Again, full developer control, enterprise ready, unified experience, pro code ready, so you can leverage tools like Azure AI Foundry, Visual Studio, Microsoft 365 Agents Toolkit to help you build these. It's a very cool thing. You can also use Microsoft 365 Agent to actually manage all your agents as well, which is a really cool feature. So again, this is called Copilot Studio Lite, formerly Agent Builder, even though it just says Copilot Studio. Again, 2 different options you have here. You have New Agent or Create Agent, which is now, I think the screenshot's slightly out of date. You also have Create, again, creates for creating like an image or a video and so forth like that. New Agent or Create Agent is about creating an agent, such as using Copilot Studio Lite. So 2 changes there. It says create twice, but one is for Studio, which is under Agent. The other one is for videos, images, so forth like that, which is just under Copilot itself. So again, just showing you, this is what I was showing you before. Copilot app, click on Create Agents, go through this, describe it. You can use a template. When you're done, you go ahead, you click Create, and just follow the prompts. It's that simple. So just want to thank MS Tug Connect again for having me present again. I'm going to have some really cool stuff to show for you next time as well that's coming up on the horizon, including management of agents, Microsoft Security. I could say actually Copilot, was it Security Copilot, which is now actually included, will be included, I should say, in E5 for Microsoft 365. Some additional things with making it more affordable for end users and more built-in products. So I'm looking forward to showing you more of that the next time as more of the frontier agents and frontier products come to fruition, go out of preview, and that's what I'll be showing you next time. So thank you once again to the MS Tech Connect team, and have a very happy new year.